name is Sarah. Welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. Today it is Wednesday, June 26, 2024, and this is another daily episode. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to sew. And I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making podcasts. And I make daily episodes since a few weeks, just because I love doing that so much. Today I am wearing a new finished object, although it is not really recently finished, but it's the first time I'm officially wearing it. It's I just counted it for my Dutch episode. This is my 6th Hinterland dress, and I made it a few weeks ago. It is made from a viscose fabric in a vintage print. When I was ordering the fabric for my estuary skirt, which I showed yesterday, I was checking all the viscose fabrics they sold, because I was curious in how it was working with viscose. Viscose is a bit of a special fabric, I guess. It is made from natural fibers, but it's not made in a natural way. But it's a very thin and flowy fabric and drapey. I love the look of it, and I had no idea how it was to work with. So I found a quite funny vintage printed viscose. And it's a bit with orange and green and black. And I used to wear a lot of those dresses. I don't do that anymore, so it feels quite a busy print, but I love it anyway. But it was with quite a discount, and as I told yesterday, for me it really works to let my sewing confidence grow, my sewing muscles grow with working with cheaper fabric. That's not always the better the quality of the fabric is, the better the chance it will work out right. I'm also aware of that. But working with cheaper fabrics, I have more courage to try, and I definitely need that. I am almost at the point that I am ready for some more expensive fabrics, or more, not really expensive, but better quality fabrics. And this one, there went a lot wrong, and I think I already shared that in one of my episodes. But it's still a perfect dress. So even when it all went wrong, nothing's wrong. So I didn't wear it because I think it was the perfect dress for a warm summer day. And it is today. I think this is the first official warm day. We will hit the 30 degrees, I guess. And that's warm for the Netherlands. But this dress is perfect because I can do this. It has pockets. I can be my own fan. We don't have air conditioning in the Netherlands. Yeah, more and more people do have air conditioning, I realize right now, but it's from the last years. We live in houses with quite big windows. Our climate is not very warm, so we want to absorb all the light, let in all the light, and it is not really necessary to keep the windows small because it's not warm quite often. But we have had a few very warm summers, and I think a lot of people do like the air conditioning. I don't really like air conditioning. I can imagine when you live in a very warm climate, yeah, you have to use the air conditioning, but it can be so cold. I love the air conditioning in my car, I must confess that. But we use fans. We have some portable fans, and I have one there right now. It's not on because it makes too much noise, but the moment I put out my camera, I put on the fan because I love it. But I can do my own fanny thing in the dress. I don't know, maybe it's making noise too. So very happy with this dress, and also because it's quite high under my arms and the neckline, I don't have to wear a tank top under it. The dress I was wearing yesterday was a little bit lower, and then you can see my bra. I didn't like that, but this is really covering up everything, so I can only wear my underwear under it, and that's enough. when it's warm, we need as less clothes as possible, and still look decent. So yeah, I'm happy with this Hinterland dress. Today I have 3 things to share with you, and let me start with this one, because this was my knitting, my accidentally unplanned swatching from yesterday, and it's fun. It will be a shawl, and I will tell you more about the swatching and why I did it in a minute. But this shawl is on my wish list for quite a while. It is the pattern. It is called the Anchor Shawl, and it's the pattern from my knitting friend Mirjam. I told about it Monday, I guess. I had dinner with her last Friday. Mirjam Molenbeek is her name. The pattern is in English, so I will link it down below. She designed this shawl, I guess, last summer. She has an online knitting class for beginner knitters, so it's a beginner friendly pattern, and she wanted to design something herself she could use for her lessons, because the paid for patterns you are not allowed to make tutorials for, so she decided to design her own. That's very clever, and it's really an easy peasy nice pattern with texture. The texture is stockinette and garter stitch. They alternate each other. Do you say it like that? In Dutch we say om en om. And that I really love the simplicity of this shawl, of those 2 patterns after each other. And I think simplicity can be very powerful, especially when you use a good yarn for it. So it was on my list for all the time. And actually, I also knew which yarn I want to use for it all the time, but I had my doubts about it. So that was why the shawl was not happening. Last Friday I had dinner with Mirjam, and I realized I always love to connect my knitting projects to a special moment. We had a lovely night, so I think this is the moment to cast on the shawl. So I did that Saturday morning. No time for it, so I worked on it yesterday. But before I will dive into that, the triangle shawl is really one I really love to wear. I have 2 of those. Those are the Skymning shawls, and the Skymning shawl is a pattern by Sophia's Tales, and I really love her Ravelry name is different. No, I don't know, but I really love this pattern. I really love knitting it. I also have one in autumnal colors, but it's stored away for the summer. I will pick it up in winter, and this one is my most recent one. I worked on this one last summer, and I had one Kauni yarn and one other yarn from a Dutch yarn shop, a Shetland wool, and I alternate those 2 colors. The Kauni yarn has a slowly different colorway. It changed. How do you say? There's a name for it, but it's not popping up right now when I need it. And the Shetland yarn is it's charcoal, that's the word, charcoal. And I really love wearing this one. And when I saw the Anchor Shawl from Mirjam, I knew that I also want a plain, just one color, a brown one, a neutral one, because this one has colors and my other one has 2, and it actually matches with everything. I mean, when you like it, it matches, isn't it? But there are also some garments I really feel I need a solid brown shawl with. So last year I told Mirjam I want to knit her shawl, and I wanted to knit her shawl, and she surprised me with the pattern in my Ravelry inbox. That's really a nice thing to do. I think I already mentioned it in one of my earlier episodes, but I wasn't aware that it was a possibility. But you can give other people a pattern as a present. And I receive lovely presents from you all the time. So that's really, every time a pattern is in my inbox, I have that that big heart jumping moment. It is so sweet. I must confess, it are not always patterns that I really would make, but that doesn't matter. I think it's a really nice and generous way of saying thank you, or being nice for someone. And And it's also a good thing for the designer. So even if the receiver will not make the pattern, the receiver will receive the love you send, and the designer will too. So since I received those patterns in my inbox, I gift other knitters also patterns every now and then. So that's really nice thing. It's nice to receive, but it's also nice to do. So if you send me a pattern, thank you. I always thank you, but again, thank you a lot for all those heart jumping moments. Yeah, so I was doubting about the yarn. I have this yarn for it. It is Shetland wool, and here Breipunt is the shop in which I bought it. I bought it 3 years ago while we were on summer holiday. The shop is in Helmond. It's a little town in the south of the Netherlands, and it was quite close to our holiday location. So I went to the shop by bike. And it was really a lovely shop owner and beautiful yarn. So I also bought the yarn for this shawl there. But this was waiting in my stash for the perfect thing. The reason I doubted to knit the shawl with is because I have too much of it. And I thought maybe I should use it for a garment. Maybe it's better to cast on a cardigan or a sweater. But it never happened, and last weekend I thought, okay, let me knit the shawl with this because I love the color. It is also, how do you say it, when it's not available anymore? It's not available anymore in that shop. So I couldn't buy more if I need more, so it's okay. The leftovers, I am quite sure I can use them for another project. Yeah. The pattern is originally it's meant for a DK weight yarn, but I wanted to knit my shawl in fingering weight. This is also fingering weight, and when you knit a shawl in DK weight, it became much bigger, and it become much bigger and more voluminous. Is that a word? I really love to knit my shawl very big, a very big triangle, but without, it's nicer for me to wear when it's a thinner fabric. So I will knit with a fingering weight yarn, and I just follow the pattern. There was a little tiny moment I thought, okay, do I have to do some modifications in the amount of rows you knit garter stitch and stockinette stitch, but I think it will be okay this way. But I started Saturday morning with the garter tap. The garter tap is when you don't know, it's a knitting technique for knitting triangle shells from the inside out, from the middle point. You don't start at one point, but you start in the middle at the straight side. And I think it's really a clever way to create such a shape, because you knit back and forth, and you increase in the middle and also at the sides to get the triangle shape. And this way you can start very tiny and you can knit endless until you think, okay, this is the good size for me. The only thing is when it's on your knitting needles, it's always a bit hard to see because this is so wide. I don't have such big cables. Of course, you can connect all your cables to check the size, the width, especially the width. Someone commented me, you don't say wide, but width, I guess. Now I'm doubting. You know what I mean. But I also prefer to check the depth of the point with other shawls I already have to decide if the shawl is big enough or not. So yeah, I started yesterday. I did knit this shawl on 3mm needles, but my intuition told me use 2.75 for this one, and I was really doubting about it. When I was knitting, I did the garter tap. That's really a little amount of work. I did that in the weekend, but I had no time for it because I had to go to my my knitting and crochet reflection day. And yesterday I picked it up and I started with knitting the shawl. But I had two reasons what I was really doubting about. Is 2.75mm the right needle size for me? Will the fabric be flowy enough? That's nice for a shawl. And also the yarn was feeling very rustic. I love rustic yarn, I love the feeling of that, but it is still something I want to wear around my neck. And this is also a rustic yarn, and I can wear it, not when it's 30 degrees outside, but I can wear it very good around my neck. But this was feeling very rough, and I know quite often there is some spinning oil left, and blocking the fabric will make a big difference, because the wool will soften up, and I was very curious. So I was knitting and I was doubting, especially about the needle size and also about the rustic feeling. And then I realized I can bind off now and I can make a little swatch. Then I am sure. So I did an extra stretchy bind off, so I could just stretch it out as much as I want to. I put it in a little tub with some wool wash in, and normally I leave it there for one night at least, but now it was only a few hours because I was curious. And indeed, the difference, it's always a bit of a blocking magic with those kinds of yarns, and it's not that the stitches are really filled up. Let me show you this way. I will take the pins out. It was not that the stitches are really filled up, but what I know, oh, there's one pin laying on the couch. That's a dangerous spot. I know now that it is definitely not too tight. I don't have to go up one needle side. You can see through it, so it's perfect. And also how it feels, it is, yeah, it's okay. It's still rustic, but not as rustic as when I was knitting. And those woolly yarns, they will get more soft by wearing. And yeah, I just was so happy that I realized I could swatch, because if you follow my episodes for a longer time, you know that I'm not a big swatching fan. But the relaxed part of this swatching process was that the stitch, the gauge didn't matter. So then is swatching fun. Normally you swatch for the gauge, and also if you can check your colors or stitch definition or whatever, but the gauge is the most important, because when you are knitting a garment, the gauge is important, because otherwise the size will not match. But for a triangle shawl, the gauge doesn't matter, because you will knit until you think it's big enough. And of course you have to maybe adjust your amount of yarn when your gauge is very different from the pattern. But it's more important that you like the fabric you are knitting. And now I can knit more relaxed. I have to start over again, of course, but I don't have to worry about when I wouldn't have swatched. I would have thought every time I knit on this shawl, is this the right needle size? Shouldn't I go one needle size up? That doubt would be existing during all the knitting process and the blocking process, and then I would realize, oh no, it's not, it's fine. And now I already know, so that will be much more relaxed. So I'm really looking forward to casting this on again. Don't know if it will make it today, but last summer this knitting project was my on-the-go project. It was laying in a car during our holiday all the time, and it was the perfect pick up and knit every time you can project, because it was so easy. And this summer that will be this shawl, so I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I did one modification. I made a slip stitch in the middle. I just love this stitch laying on top of it. And that's not what the pattern says, but I did the slip stitch because I love slip stitches. Okay, yeah, then, did I? Oh no, that was the first thing I told. I'm a bit confused because I just filmed my Dutch episode. I wasn't sure if I told about this heel in the Dutch episode or here. I finished my heel yesterday as I planned. I knitted the shadow wrap short row heel, and I thought that it would be nice to give you some suggestions for when you want to learn sock knitting. Because a lot of people have some sock knitting fear, I guess. I did have sock knitting fear when I started knitting socks, and I learned knitting socks from a paper pattern when we were on holiday, I think 5 years ago, and I had no idea what I was doing. It was from Wolwinkel Mum, and it was a cuff down pattern with a heel flap and gusset Kitchener stitch. I had no idea what I was doing, but I had a sock in the end. And the second sock was a little bit more easy, and I understand the construction, but it was quite a challenge. And you have a lot of nice video tutorials too. I think you might have had them in that time too. But the shadow wrap short row heel I learned from the video tutorials from Denise from Earthtonesgirl, and she has the free tutorials on YouTube. No fear sock knitting class, and it's very there are very much tutorials all about socks you can follow as a beginner knitter. And I think the Crazy Sock Lady has also such a tutorial, how do you call it? Tutorial series. In Dutch we call it tutorial reeks. I don't know the English word. So you can learn sock knitting for free as on YouTube, because all the and there probably are a lot more useful sock tutorials. Oh, I am feeling so warm. I can't think and I can't talk anymore. Do you notice? There's a little bit struggling here, but it's because I'm feeling so warm. I will share a little bit more about it at the end of the episode. So yeah, there are a lot of nice suggestions to learn socks, and of course you can learn it in real life when you have can follow a workshop or in your yarn shop or from a friend. But please don't be afraid of learning knitting socks, learning sock knitting, because it is not hard at all. You have to learn it, and in the beginning it can be hard and difficult, as it can be always when you are learning new things. But I think all the people I know who learned knitting socks, for all those people, it's the easy project right now on the needles. Oh, my girl's coming home and she doesn't know I'm filming. One moment, please. She's putting her bike in front of the house, so I think she will only pick up something. Hey schat, ik ben eigenlijk een filmpje aan het maken.
Hallo?
I will check her. Okay. Oh, there's the dog. Okay, that was my youngest girl. She had an activity from school and she will go. My dog is. Oh, it is. My holiday routine doesn't work out yet because. No, not here. Kom, ga maar ergens anders heen. Nee, ga maar plaats. You can't see her, but she's doing really silly. She needs some attention. My holiday routine is not working out the way I planned because there's someone in the house every time, every moment. My husband is at home from work because he's not feeling well, and he's feeling better right now, but he was really sick. No. He was really sick a few days, and the girls, they are coming in and out, and I can't find a quiet moment to film. And it was my idea to just film at the early day and then nothing left the rest of the day, but it's not working out. So yeah, I had 1 hour alone and someone's coming. That's my life right now, and it's not a problem, but it can be annoying. Especially maybe I had want to save that part, this part for the end of the episode, but maybe I can do it right now because we are there already. The holiday routine is not working out really nice. The weather is quite warm and I'm not made for hot weather. I just when I move very slow and don't want to do a lot, I have no problems. I sit in in front of the van all day and I can knit and nothing's wrong. But when I want to be too active, I get overheated and I can get very grumpy when I'm overheated. And it can even be worse. The female cyclist is also influencing my mood at the moment. Making daily episodes creates that you see me every day, during the week, during the month, also during the female cyclist. And that cyclist, the hormones really influence me. I can have very sparkly, powerful, active weeks in my cyclist, but I have also weeks that I have the low energy and I'm still feeling well, but I'm not as sparkly as I normally are. And I'm there right now. My body is busy doing other things, and that takes energy, and that's absolutely okay. But in combination with the warm weather and the holiday, all the people around, made me decide today. I still wanted to talk because I love talking, but it made me decide that I only do the talking today, and the rest of the day the part is when I am at that part of my cyclist. I'm also quite critical on myself. So editing my videos, it's not fun to do. I'm absolutely okay with who I am, and that's no problem. But influenced by the hormones, I am very critical in those weeks. And watching yourself on the screen and edit that, it's quite a challenge, because it will never be good, and you will do it over and wanted to do it over and over again, but you don't have the energy for that. So we won't go into there. When I don't have to edit just one talking video, I don't have to look at myself. And I can do that when I'm okay with it, when the other hormones are doing their work. And there's no reason really. I don't have to share this, but for me it's really important to also share this, because I think, I'm quite sure, I'm not the only woman struggling with it. And I think some women, how do you say it? It's not, the influence is not as big for every woman. So for some women it is really, they hardly notice, and other women, they have way more things than I experience, way more heavy things, and all that in between. But I think for women, it's important to talk about this with each other and also with the men, so they can understand, because my hormones do not only influence my life. It's really helpful. And making daily episodes, this is also a part of it. So there's my other girl. Heel even, ik ben bijna klaar. It will be a hard day. But I want to share one latest thing with you. I'm not quite sure if I finished my sock knitting part, but if you have good suggestions for learning knitting socks, please feel free to share them in the comments. I did buy a new pattern, and it's a sewing pattern again. It is the Songbird skirt, and it's a double pattern, because it's also a pattern for a tank top. But it was so fun. I think the pattern was released yesterday, or it is the newest pattern from So Liberated. And yesterday I was talking in my episode about the long skirt I really would like to make myself one day. And then later on the day I saw the Songbird skirt, and I thought, that's perfect. I love the style of that skirt. It really reminds me of my mother wearing long skirts, and I thought she was very beautiful. She is still very beautiful, but I thought as a child, my mother wearing longer skirt, it really, she was a princess. I get that feeling. And also my 17-year-old girl is wearing those skirts all the time. So that's also really nice. And I think it can be quite an interesting pattern for scrappy skirts. I have quite some leftovers from my other sewing projects. It would be very fun to use them up in the Songbird skirt. So I will make one myself. And if it won't work out, my other girl will be happy with it. So it's always nice. I have no idea how the model will look on me, but I will share more details when I'm working on it. I am busy with cutting the pattern and pasting it together and cutting it. But I think there will not happen much more today, because I will just sit and knit and drink a lot of water and do slow down and easy peasy. So no nice other parts at the end of my video or at the beginning. Yeah, it is what it is. I hope you have enjoyed this anyway. I did. I really love talking about my crafty adventures. So thank you for listening. Yeah, I hope you have a nice day. Create your heart jumping moments. They are very important, and I will do that definitely. And I hope to see you tomorrow.